All right. Well, welcome this evening. We're going to cover who we are, what we do, and how we can add value to each other. Now, just give me a quick statement, or let me just ask you. Well, just make you aware of that your life can only take one of three paths. You can live a long time. That's the goal of most people. They want to live quite a long time. You can die too soon. Think of Kobe Bryant or Chadwick Boseman, or you become sick along the way. Think of somebody that had a heart attack, stroke, or cancer. Now, outside of those three things, living a long time, dying too soon, or becoming sick along the way, is there anything else you can think of that would happen in life, or is everything going to fit in one of those three boxes? And yes, everything's probably going to fit in one of those three boxes. There's nothing else that can really happen to you throughout life. So, question becomes then, does it make sense to put a plan in place that can cover anything that can happen, or do just one or two of those things resonate with you more? But we're in the financial services industry, mainly life insurance. If you were to Google what industry has created the most millionaires, top of the list is going to be the financial services industry. Here's the reason why: because the industry is huge. With 3.5 trillion, 20% of the US gross domestic product, but that's not my number. That's the selectusa.gov. And here's the thing: this industry is so massive. You think of 3.5 trillion. If this was his own country, it'd be one of the top 10 countries in the world, just the financial services industry alone. So this industry itself makes more than 90% of the countries in terms of revenue produces every year. But think of the other side of life insurance. Most people don't really understand like what happens on the other side in terms of life insurance having the ability to pay them. So think of yourself. Do you have a life insurance policy? And if you say yes, now how much are you paying for that policy? Now think a little bit beyond that. What's the largest policy you've ever seen created, or ever seen advertised, or ever heard somebody have? Usually, when we ask that question, most people would say about $1 million, and then ask you, what is somebody paying in order to keep that $1 million policy? So if something happens, that policy pays out, so that family and friends, or family or beneficiaries, going to be able to receive that, or the money that money is going to be paid back to the trust. How much are they paying every month for that policy? Now, I'm trying to tell you, the largest policy ever created in the Guinness Book of World Records up until recently was $200 million. That was for a billionaire. Now, he didn't need the life insurance, the death benefit, but he understood the benefits of having a life insurance in terms of having it pay him far more than he actually put into it. So the premiums he was paying on that policy, that billionaire, it was 20 million per year. So think about that. In 10 years, he actually paid the amount of the policy, and then in 11 years, he paid more than the policy was worth. But he understood, like on the back end, the principles of being able to take more money out than he actually put in. So we put plans in place, let's say with the Kaizen, where an individual would pay 30, 40, 50,000, say $100,000 a year. In addition to that, they can do bank financing where the bank's paying an additional $100,000. So every 5 years to put $1 million into that policy in premium. And then after 5 years, the bank takes over and pays the whole $200,000 every year for the next 5 years. So now that's $2 million paid into the policy. Reason why someone would do that, and they put in, let's say, $2 million in premium into the policy, because on the back end, they're able to take out 100, 200, $300,000 every year for the rest of their life. Now, I'll just ask you, those that say you have life insurance, do you have the ability to do that with the life insurance and what you have? If not, maybe we should talk so you can get maybe upgrading what you have, make it a little bit more modern. Now, if you were to pass away suddenly, would you want your family's lifestyle to be worse, stay the same, or get better? Most people we talk to, they say get better. We understand that's why people have life insurance opposed to having to create a GoFundMe. But if you were to look at this family here, this little girl, let's just say this little girl became an orphan. Well, one of the companies we work with, that little girl became an orphan. What they would do is not only pay the beneficiary, let's say that $1 million policy, whatever the person had taken out in regards to the policy, they'd actually pay her guardian $900 a month until the little girl turned 18. And then when the little girl, she decided to go to college, they would actually pay an additional $6,000 a year for the little girl to go to college for 4 years. So again, with the policy that you have in place, does that policy give the ability to have these benefits on top of what it is you already have? If not, maybe we should look at upgrading what you have to make it a little bit more modern. So this way you can be getting more benefits for the same dollars. Now, if you became sick and you couldn't work, would you want to receive a get well card or a check? And probably didn't take you long to answer that. Most people we ask that question to, they say that they'd rather receive a check. And we understand that because the biggest asset you have during your working years is your ability to earn an income. So if you became sick and you couldn't work, let's say you're making $75,000 a year and you had a stroke and it took you 2 years to recover, you just lost $150,000 in income. Now, looking at that same $1 million policy, where we were talking about, you can accelerate the benefits from that policy and be able to take money out while you're living. So let's say that $1 million policy, you took out $200,000 to be able to replace that $150,000 in income. That would enable you to just focus on getting better, where your life wouldn't have to skip a beat. But again, if your policy that you have now doesn't give you the ability to do that, maybe we should talk so you can put something in place for the same money you're paying now, which gives you more benefits. Now, are you 100% sure you're going to have a great retirement, or do you have some doubts? Because usually when we ask people that question, most of them say that they have doubts, and a lot of that is due to what happens on the back end for the retirement. And biggest thing would be taxes, and then the loss of let's say the loss of the money that's in the account as the market changes. So the taxes, we can show you how to be able to put your money in a plan where you can put yourself in a 0% tax bracket. So regardless of what happens, 0 times any number is 0. And regarding in the market losses, you can put yourself in a plan where it can make sense, where you don't experience any losses. Because think about this, your money can take one of 3 paths. It can go up, it can go down, or it can stay the same. Now, if you were to take away one of those actions from your portfolio, which one would you want to remove? Most people ask that question too. They say they want to take away the ability for them to lose money, right? Right. So what you say is that you want to have your money in an account where it can only go up or stay the same, but never go down. Well, we can show you exactly how to be able to do that. So this way, your retirement, you're never experiencing any losses. You're just never playing catch up. You're only going to have the gains from that retirement account. That can help you have a better retirement and eliminate some of that doubt. Now, there's 3 different promises for your retirement. Let's say the promise from the government, Social Security. Social Security, some people call it the greatest Ponzi scheme ever created, because the Social Security, you're paying for a spot now to be able to get a payout later on. That's usually how Ponzi schemes work. But when Social Security was first created, it was created to really not pay out, because the average person was living to about age 63, and Social Security started paying at age 65. But as we know, with the advances in technology and medicine, people are living longer. So when Social Security was first created, there was about 40 people paying into the Social Security for every one person that was taking money out. Now it's probably about 4 people paying in for every one person taking out, because there's so many more people that are in a position where they're working in a gig economy, they're working 1099, they're not paying it into that Social Security. So if you look at any political season, when they're talking about Social Security, they're talking about the Social Security only has about a decade left where it's going to go and may end up collapsing. So if looking at pushing back the age in which you're going to be able to take the money out of Social Security, there's talk about going from a 40-year career to a 60-year career. So some people, you're in a position now to be able to receive your retirement as Social Security. But if it's not there, then you're not going to be able to receive anything from it. The second thing you look at is your employer. Do you have a 401k? That's a promise from your employer. Let's say you have a 403b, a TSP. Does your employer provide a pension plan? Now, in those cases, we don't really see a lot of employers outside of the government that offer pension plans. So a lot of that, what you have to do is let's say the 401k or those cafeteria plans all work the same. Now, 401k is probably the greatest retirement plan the government's ever created for themselves, because you put your money in, let's say tax prison. You put it in at a young age and you can't take it out until you hit a certain age. If you do, you're going to take your money out and there's going to be a penalty. And then if you let it stay in there too long after that age where you can start taking it out, if you don't take it out, let's say by 70 and a half or 72, then you're going to start receiving additional penalties on that money for not taking it out, because you owe those taxes to the government. So what you're really doing when you put the money in there, you're putting it in there tax deferred, so you're deferring the taxes to later on. Now, here's the question for you. Do you think taxes in the future are going to go up or go down? And if you say up, I would agree with you, just based on a couple things that just happened. Let's say with the bank bailouts, where we had to pay the trillions of dollars to the banks that the taxpayers had to pay back. And then you look at quarantine, the money which had to pay back from the CARES Act and the stimulus check. So those trillions and trillions of dollars are that money is going to come due. That has to be paid by the taxpayers. So really, where you have the most control over is going to be that golden egg, what you do for yourself personally. So we, in our organization, we have the ability to be able to create that pension plan. And see what we call it a generational pension plan, because you can actually create a pension plan for yourself that you can actually pass down from generation to generation. So just imagine you have a retirement plan in place that pays you, and then when time is over, you can actually say have that same retirement plan, still give a tithe to your church after you pass away, or still be paid down to your children. Talk to the person who's giving this video. They can tell you a little bit more about that. Now, let me ask you, what's more important to you, accumulation or cash flow? And I'm gonna ask you like this, let's say, let me give you a couple examples. Accumulation is sort of like this, where the average person, when they retire in the US, right, what they accumulate in their retirement account is about $50,000. But let's just say, let's call it 100,000. So now you have $100,000 in your account, you retire, and let's just say you want to take out $2,000 a month for your retirement to help you out with and help you out with retirement. Well, what happens if you take out $2,000 a month out of that 100,000, in 5 years, that account is depleted. There's no more money. Cash flow works like this. We just talked about Social Security. Just imagine you start receiving the money like Social Security, and for the next 10, 15, 20 years, for the rest of your life, that money comes in month after month after month, like clockwork. That cash flow, you can count on that cash flow month after month. So just thinking about for your own lifestyle, for where you are, what would be more important to you, accumulation or cash flow? Great thing is, work with us. You don't have to choose. We can show you how to maximize both. Now, let me give you an example of accumulation and cash flow. We see on the left side, we have the old way, brother A, and on the right side, brother B. So for the sake of this illustration, what we're going to do is basically say that brother A, all right, he's saving the money inside of a 401k where he's paying the taxes later. But we're going to say he's earning 8%, never loses any money in the market. So he's going to say it's going to be perfect for the next 30. He's age 35. For the next 30 years, he never loses any money. Brother B is going to put the money in a life savings account. He's not going to get any contributions or any tax breaks. So brother A put the money in a 401k, put in $6,500. He's getting the match from the employer of $1,000, and he has a life insurance policy in case he doesn't make it home one day of $600,000 that would pay his family. So he's paying about $680 a month. Brother B has no 401k, no employer match. He's taking a whole $7,200 and putting inside the life savings account that's worth $600,000. After 30 years, brother A in that 401k accumulated $850,000. Right? The term insurance expired. It was a 30-year term. So now no longer has the same obligation, no longer has the insurance. And then he saved $65,000 during that time in taxes. Brother B accumulated $700,000. The death benefit grew to $864,000 in that life savings account. Didn't save any money in taxes, and he actually accumulated $700,000. So if you look at, he accumulated $850,000 and he accumulated $700,000. Who would you say won after 30 years? And like most people, they would say brother A because he accumulated more money. But let's look at the cash flow and how that works. So results during retirement. Let's say they're both going to take out a little less than $100,000 a year, $97,000. Brother A, he's got to withdraw from his account $129,000 because he still has to pay those taxes. And let's say the tax rate now is at 25%. So for him to walk away with the $97,000, he has to withdraw $129,000 every year. So in 9 years, at age 74, he runs out of money. Brother B, who accumulated less money, wants to walk away with $97,000. The way that this account works is that he's taking money out as a tax-free loan at $97,000. He's taking the money out of that account as a loan. So think about if you get a cash out refinance from your home, or you got a loan for a car, or let's just say you got a personal loan. That's money what you have, you can use, but you don't have to pay back. But because he's taken out as a loan, this account just keeps compounding as if the money was never taken out. So because he's taken out as a loan, there's no taxes due on this money. So if he lived to age 100, brother B would actually be able to use $3 million all in tax-free income to supplement his retirement. On top of that, he put in $709,000, but he's able to take out $3 million. And he left behind with his family $3 million after he passed away. So now again, I ask you, would you rather be brother A or brother B? Now that you understand how this is working, basically taking the same money and you put it in, instead of putting it in your left pocket, you put it in your right pocket and you get much better results. So now we ask you, where do you see yourself? You see yourself as one, a person that has a few more questions that you want to get answered. Two, somebody that would like more information about developing a plan to put something in place to make sure if they live a long time, they could be like brother B. If they were to pass away too soon, they'd be like the child that became an orphan. Or if they became sick along the way, want to be able to receive money. Like I said, if they got sick and couldn't work, want to be able to receive that income coming into them while they're not working. Or say three, like the idea of the financial services industry, the one that created the most millionaires. You want to learn more about generating income from what we do. So where do you see yourself? You see yourself as a one, a two, a three, or a four? Just let us know and get back to the person who shared this information with you.